How is globalization impacting Indigenous art and its role in resistance? How is globalization impacting Indigenous art and its role in resistance? This question opens a fascinating discussion about the intersection of culture, history, and modernity. Globalization reshapes Indigenous art in Latin America, creating both opportunities and challenges. On one side, it connects traditional art forms to global markets, increasing visibility for Indigenous artists. On the other side, there is a risk of losing the authenticity of these art forms as they become commercialized. This tension has roots in the colonial past and the rise of Creole nationalism in the region. Cultural exchange is a key aspect of globalization. Platforms like international art fairs and social media allow Indigenous artists to showcase their work to a wider audience. This can lead to meaningful conversations about culture and identity. However, commercialization often strips art of its sacred meanings. Traditional motifs can become mass-produced items, losing their cultural significance. This pattern mirrors how colonial powers extracted cultural resources, a practice that continues today. Indigenous art serves as a powerful tool for political resistance. Artists reclaim narratives that were erased during colonization. Murals, textiles, and performances often address vital issues like land rights and environmental justice. For instance, Andean weavers incorporate symbols of resistance into their textiles, asserting their cultural heritage and territorial rights. Artists are finding ways to balance tradition and innovation. Many merge ancestral techniques with contemporary styles. For example, pottery from Amazonian communities is now featured in global galleries, sometimes enhanced with modern technology. This reflects a historical push from Creole nationalism to redefine Latin American identity by blending Indigenous roots with modern aspirations. Economic pressures from global markets can undervalue Indigenous labor. This often forces artists to prioritize profit over cultural integrity. In response, Fairtrade cooperatives are emerging. These organizations ensure that artists receive fair compensation while preserving communal ownership. This is a direct response to centuries of exploitative practices that began during the colonial encomienda systems. Practical applications for cultural preservation are also evolving. Educational programs and legal frameworks now emphasize the importance of Indigenous intellectual property rights. This shift is influenced by globalization's focus on cultural appropriation. Museums are increasingly collaborating with Indigenous communities to curate exhibits. This ensures that art remains connected to its cultural origins rather than being presented as exotic artifacts. From a Latin cultural perspective, the dual nature of globalization reflects ongoing struggles for self-determination. The evolution of Indigenous art embodies resistance against cultural homogenization. It asserts that cultural survival is tied to political autonomy, a principle echoed in Creole nationalist movements that sought to unify diverse identities against colonial oppression. In summary, globalization transforms Indigenous art into both a battleground and a bridge. While it poses threats to cultural integrity, it also equips artists with tools to adapt and assert their place in global conversations. This dynamic is deeply intertwined with Latin America's history of colonization and the ongoing quest for cultural sovereignty.